Hello, it's Diane with Diane's BlueHeartsAndButterflies.com, and I have been preparing for kind of a Halloween class. One of our the hostess wanted to do some Halloween cards, so this one I just had seen several like it on Pinterest and thought that it would be a really great nighttime scene. And it's using the Brayered technique. I'm going to be using some products that are retired, but it's things that I had. And so I wanted to go over what I used to do this. There's some basic black cardstock that is 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4 to make the base. I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that is 4 by 5 1/4. This is for the inside. I have a piece of the black glittered ribbon that's about 6 inches. And then the front, I went ahead and used some of the shimmery cardstock that I had left over, and it is 4 by 5 1/4 as well. You can use regular Whisper White cardstock when you're doing brayering, but it seems to flow together and blend easier on either the shimmery white cardstock or the glossy white, which is retired also. I went ahead and used this because it does have some speckles in it. I'm not sure if you can pick it up on the camera or not, but I thought that would be good for night sky. I also took my 2-inch circle punch, and I punched a piece of removable label with the 2-inch punch so that I could create kind of a moon in the background. And I'm just going to put that on there, and then we're going to set that aside. We'll do the brayering in a minute. And then I used the 1.5-inch circle punch to cut a piece that we're going to stamp our sentiment on, and then 1 3/8-inch circle punch out of the basic black. And then I had some a bat die that a friend had given me, and I just went ahead and used that. They do have the new stamp set and die set for the Halloween that are really pretty, but I haven't bought those yet. So anyway, I thought that I would get started with our stamping. And this one I wanted to do I'm actually using stamps from Winter Woods, the Bare Trees. I'm using this ground piece from the Snowfront. You could also use the Bare Trees out of the Snowfront set. And then for some character in my moon, I am using this little kind of oil spill smudge that I'm going to be stamping off, and then just creating some background on my moon on this card. But we will start with Memento Tuxedo Black for our sentiment. And this one is actually out of an old paper pumpkin set that I have, but I thought that it kind of went with the theme, and so I'm doing that. Then I'm going to bring in the colors that I'm using for the background for the brayering, and that is Daffodil Delight, Pumpkin Pie, Cajun Craze, Gorgeous Grape, and Blackberry Bliss to create the sky. And you start with your lightest color. I'm doing that at the bottom, and I'm working my way up. I'm using the sponge brayers that are sold by Stampin' Up. They come with 2 handles and 4 sponges, but I'm going to go ahead and I've got more than one set, so I'm using those. And then I'm just going to put those in order. I only have the 4 handles, so I'm going to have to trade off. But I had used this yesterday making some other cards. So basically with brayering, what you're really wanting to do is be able to ink up your, and I just have a spot on here that I need to clean up. you're wanting to ink the whole entire round, and by going like this, you're missing part of it. So you want to roll it all the way, going up and off and restarting, so that it gets all the way around. And then I'm just going to start off of the paper and roll on, and then just kind of roll it up. And then I'm going to move on to the next color, which is the pumpkin pie. And do the same thing. I'm rolling all the way from one end to the other, pick it up, and start again. And then I'm going to roll the pumpkin pie going up, kind of blending over where the last color stopped. And then the Cajun Craze. And I'm just trying to blend these down lower because I want the night sky to kind of come down further. And again, I'm just kind of starting off the page and working my way up. And it just kind of starts blending these colors a little bit together. You can kind of go back over them and blend them a little better. I need to use one of these handles. Move on to the Gorgeous Grape. It's kind of nice to be able to learn some new techniques and share those with others. So this one is using the masking technique for the moon as well as the brayering. Then I'm going to bring in the Blackberry Bliss ink and really kind of fill in some of the top. Get it a little darker. I think I'm going to bring some more of the darker stuff down. Creating a little bit more of the darker sky. It's just what I was going for. You could do these in different colors and have more of a fall theme and do them lighter kind of colors to create more of a fall theme. Or you could even go darker and use some Night of Navy in here and make it even darker or black. But once you've got your brayering done, let me put these away. Get them out of the way before I stick something in the ink, which I am famous for doing, including my fingers. Move those off out of the way. And then you can take and peel up this mask. That's why you use the removable labels, or you can use a piece of regular copy paper and use some the two-way glue. And yes, I've already got ink kind of on there, but that's kind of why I created for the smudges. And I'm going to use the Smoky Slate You might try the basic gray or the gray granite. And I'm just going to kind of stamp off a couple of times because I want to give it kind of a very faint look of just the divots and darker spots on the moon. And so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to bring back the Memento Tuxedo Black, and I'm going to use that on the trees. Now this one's fairly large and the ink pad is smaller, so I generally bring and turn it over so that I can make sure that I'm getting ink all over that stamp. And then I'm going to kind of stamp that off to the right side a little bit. Excuse me. So that it soaks in and goes over that moon. And then I'm going to bring in some crumb cake. And I took that kind of a hillside or ground piece, and I'm just going to stamp that in crumb cake kind of in a couple of different places to give it a little depth on the ground. And then I think I'm going to, I happen to have the bat out of the Banner Year stamp set, and I'm going to just kind of put that in a couple of places on the inside. I don't have a message that I really wanted to put in there right now, but I could write something later. I just thought it would be really fun to put some bats on the inside. So that is for the inside. Now we can go ahead and assemble our card. So, and of course, here is the stamp and seal. And I'm just going to add some adhesive. And this is the stamp and seal. I am not as good at using it as some other people yet. Let me get another one, just a moment. Mine has a tendency to get stuck on from the inside, so I'm gonna have to work with it a little more. And they said that it's more of keeping it flat, and when you're done, just pull up instead of trying to do the check mark like we used to do with the fast views. And then I'm going to put this just across the front here. And then I'm going to adhere the little white circle to the black one. And put those together. Now the ribbon, I just took and kind of folded it, and I'm going to adhere that with a couple of glue dots down here in the lower left side. And then I kind of wanted to pop up the circles, so I'm just going to add a few of the dimensionals to the back to give it a little bit of depth. I like to have some depth and dimension on my cards, but if you want to, you can just adhere this straight down. And then I just put that over here, and then I took the snips and I just kind of cut those in flag ends. Oh. it came up. Try again. There we go. And then I also, there's some little eyes on these that didn't come out, so I'm going to try to pop those out. And use some glue dots again. These are cut out of the black glimmer paper that is in the mini catalog, the August to December mini catalog. And I'm just using the take your pick tool to kind of pop out the little pieces that didn't come out when I did the die cutting. And again, I'll use glue dots to adhere. These are bats kind of flying around. I might use a mini dimensional on one of these. Have it flying up over here just to, and of course you can see that I did these the wrong way, so that's the reason that we have more than one side to cardstock, right? And so I can turn it over and then I'll just re-stamp these. These are photopolymer stamps. I really should have my Stamp and Pierce mat out of there, and it would really come out a lot better, but they look like they're doing fairly well. And it looks like I've got a little bit of extra ink, so I'm going to just turn that over and just blot it a little bit so that I can make sure that I don't have that coming off where I don't want it. And then I'm just going to apply some of the Stamp and Seal. Put this down on the inside, just leaving a little bit of border around. Oh, I am going to need some more glue dots on the back of my ribbon. There's one. Okay. Try that again. You can always use a little bit of the liquid multi-purpose glue behind the ribbon. It may not be wanting to stick because of the ink that is here. So that's another option that you can use. But this is using the brayering technique. And something else that I added is with the chalk marker, I just kind of went through and added some stars into the sky. You could do this before you put everything together. Also, if you have any white gel pen, you could do the same. And then another thing that you can do and is with an aqua painter is get some water flowing onto a block, and then you could take and just kind of flick some water off onto the cardstock after you've done the, sometimes it works good if you just tap it too. You just want to make sure that there's some water on it, and it just kind of creates another portion on the background. As it dries, the little spots will start to kind of dilute the ink in those areas, and it'll kind of give it a different look. You could also do some splashing or spritzing with the Wink of Stella, or you could just use it to kind of, Oh, there we go. Got a lot on there now. And you could just kind of tap that too, and it just gives it a little bit more, some sparkles. And so that's another thing that you can do to create some little background. And I would probably do that before putting it all together, but I forgot. So thank you for watching. I hope that you'll check out my blog at dianesblueheartsandbutterflies.com and look for my other videos. Thank you.